Good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the first Orators in the Cloud Toastmasters meeting of 2021. My name is Basil, and I'm honored to take up the role of Sergeant at Arms to kick off the proceedings for today. Let me start by wishing you all a very possibly happy new year. The beginning of a year for most people usually involves creating resolutions and goals and wishes to accomplish that year. My resolutions or wishes usually involve traveling and seeing and experiencing more places. Thanks to our friendly neighborhood virus, my only resolution right now is to stay put and somehow avoid breaching the dreaded 90 kg mark. So I certainly hope that you all have come up with better, more viable resolutions than I did. Let's all hope for a year where we can go out and bring Corona instead of running away from it. Probably one of my resolutions should be telling lesser PJs than usual. So let's get to the ground rules for today. Please refrain from topics like sex, politics, and religion. Kindly avoid using your mobile phone during this meeting. It's preferred to keep them in silent mode. Please do not speak out of turn. One of the biggest communication problems is that people do not listen. So let's aim to be better listeners along with our aim to be better speakers. Last and most importantly, please applaud and visibly applaud after each speech. We are here not only to improve ourselves, but also to help our peers and friends here improve as well. Let's encourage and appreciate the efforts that they put in to entertain and educate us. So with that being said, I would now like to hand over the reins to our presiding officer, Sumedh, to take it further.
Thank you, Basil, Toastmaster Basil. Now, did you find that in any way new or as if a new guy was entering in and doing the role for the first time? I thought that was a seasoned approach, right? Getting in about the theme and letting people know that you know what you're doing. So basically, job well done, Basil. And good afternoon, good evening, good morning to Phil and all the other folks who have joined the meet. This is our 45th meet, and man, it only feels yesterday that we started this club and we are already there, 45th one. So the theme for today's meet was new beginnings, right? Now that made me wonder, and this is me being silly and foolish, but I was wondering, is there something that we can do afresh or start anew while we are here locked down in our own houses, right? What are the new year's resolutions that we have taken which are innovative and inventive, which need you to do something different from what you have already been doing for the past 8-9 months, and you will be doing the same thing for the next 8-9 months. So what new can you do at this point, right, without overburdening yourself? At that point I decided that let's not talk of doing something new, but let's try of doing the same old thing in a very new way. So I decided to wear a red shirt and a blue jeans pant, and on top of it wear a sweater kind of a thing in Hyderabad. I just wanted to wear a sweater in a very new way. I just wanted to showcase people how a sweater is worn in Hyderabad. They don't know. Never been that cold here. So I've been doing a lot of crazy things like this. But what the general notion is you don't need to change the surroundings. You only need to change how you look at them. So with that, I'd like to hand over the reins to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedh. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Phil. Good afternoon, Indian folks. How are we doing? First question, before we get into the proceedings, does anybody know when good evening starts?
5 p.m.
Well, I think you expect me to have an answer, but that was a genuine question. Thank you, Arjun. From now on, I will be wishing good evening to everybody who contacts me after 5 p.m. But for now, good afternoon, everybody. I hope the new year is treating you and serving you better than the last year did. First of all, let me go out and say, Happy New Year, everyone. And that actually is the theme of our meeting, new beginnings. I know that I'm running on the treaded territory here, but I still wish to go on it. I still wish to explore why we are so excited about New Year's. But before we get into those things, let me just say that today's meeting is a usual one speaker meeting where we have one of our newer members delivering what is supposed to be a groundbreaking, ice-breaking speech. And beyond that, the model of the entire meeting is known to all the members here because we are seasoned, as Sumedh has mentioned already, including Basil, because he delivered such an amazing essay intro. Well, talking about the new year, it seems like only yesterday when people were saying that, doom is coming in 2012. Well, it's been a grace of 9 years now. I think we are overdue on the doom. Well, 2020 tried. 2020 tried its best, but well, we survived. Hoping 2021 we will survive better and we will grow further. The concept of new beginnings and new resolutions that is associated with new year is curious to me, because what is it? What changes between, for example, for this year, what changed between 31st December and 1st January? Between that, I think it was a Friday and a Thursday and a Friday. What changed? Except we got a holiday. Nothing really, right? But the concept of new beginnings, it fills us with an idea of this vast and completely free canvas where anything is possible. We think of new beginnings and suddenly we are filled with this energy that we can possibly do anything. Well, we'll explore on that idea further, but for now, let me invite on the stage a person from whom, when I asked what is his New Year's resolution, his response was to the tunes of resolution is for kids, legends act. Please welcome the legendary Abhijit Kaul as our general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hind. A very good afternoon and good morning to Toastmasters. Disclaimer, this messaging that Hind just did, that was all on his own. I never really said anything like that. Now that we have made peace with that, let's move forward. Do any of you remember your first ever new beginning in this life? I bet you don't, because I'm talking about a time when you were born. That was the first ever new beginning you ever had. From the time you were born till now, most likely you've been getting tons and tons of feedback coming your way. For instance, don't jump like that, you will fall. Just don't keep playing games all day, you will definitely fail your class. Or after high school, make sure you choose medicine or engineering because that's what's going to make your future bright. Now, what's the problem with this feedback? Apart from the fact that you probably didn't invite the feedback is not complete. I mean, nobody told me if I can't jump this way, how should I jump? Or, well, I did pass my previous exams while playing the same games. So what is really that you're trying to say here? And finally, what do you really mean by a bright future? Thankfully for all of you, at Toastmasters, we believe in actionable feedback and not just feedback, because my friends, feedback alone doesn't really get you anywhere. As much as it sounds like a serious responsibility, it surely is. So for all through the meeting today, myself and my team of evaluators is going to make sure that whenever you come here to speak today, sitting at the comforts of your home, we are still going to look at every possible thing that can give you the actionable feedback that you need for your new beginning. With that, let me introduce my first team member who's going to very closely watch your time. Please welcome my first evaluator, Toastmaster Navjot, who's the timer of the day.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. My role as a timer is to keep check on the speaker's time, whether the speaker is within allotted time or not. This will also help ensuring that the meeting runs on time. To aid me with this, I will be using three colors. The green, which I will flash the green color when the speaker is qualifying time. I will flash the yellow color when the speaker reaches the target time. I will flash red color when the speaker reaches the allotted time. Uh, for prepared speech today, the qualifying time is 4 minutes. The target time is 5 minutes, and the allotted time is 6 minutes. And for the table topic speakers, qualifying time is 1 minute. The target time is 1 minute 30 seconds, and the allotted time is 2 minutes. I will be presenting my report at the end of this session. Over to you, Toastmaster. Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Navjot. And I would urge you that you closely and minutely look at what really took some of the speakers to go over time if it did happen. With that, you might have always been told you really need to improve on communication skills. If you haven't been told, well, maybe you didn't write, you never got the right feedback, or you're just so good. If it's the former, the next evaluator is going to definitely tell you much more in terms of how you can do better in terms of becoming that strong communicator. Please welcome the AhCounter for today, Toastmaster Hillol.
Thank you, Abhijit. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. So today my role is AhCounter. So as a AhCounter, my job is to listen to you really minutely and keep track of the unnecessary filler words that you use. Like, I mean, and even the sounds like all these things. So these is very important because it kills the spontaneity of your speech and flow of your speech. So try to use as less as these filler words as possible. At the end of the meeting, I will present the report. So all the best. Over to Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hillol. And last but not the least, this evaluator is going to give you some very important words of wisdom that is going to possibly make you that legendary communicator that Hind talked about in the beginning. Let's hear it from the person himself, the Toastmaster the Toastmaster who's going to evaluate you on grammar, Toastmaster Arjun.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? I hope I am. All right. So I wish you a very happy new year, everyone. Well, I cannot bring something new to the role of the grammarian, but I can ensure that I do justice to this role. My job is to analyze your grammatical mistakes and also appreciate good usage of grammar, such as idioms, metaphors, personifications, and other beautiful figures of speech. With that being said, when I read the poster for today's meeting, I could see that Shreya had indicated a slight hint at me for choosing the word of the day. I had already chosen a different word, but then I had to go back and revisit my choice. With that being said, today's word of the day is ebullience, which means exuberance or cheerfulness or liveliness, which is something which I demand from this year. The usage can be such as the ebullience of happy children brought a smile to my face. With that being said, I hope that you guys use the word of the day, and please try to make sure whatever you speak is grammatically correct. Even if it isn't correct, it's all right. I'm there to help you. With that being said, I would like to hand it over to Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun. On behalf of all the evaluators, I wish good luck to all the speakers who come in today and speak their heart out. I would give you just one actionable feedback that you can try to use for the session today. Whenever you're clouded by a dilemma about what to speak next, which we always happen to us all the time, just try to take a little pause. Your thought process will come back. It will become much smoother, and you will also avoid those ahs and ums. With that, let's get the session started. I'll hand it over back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator and the tag team for listing down your roles, telling us the word of the day, and being right on time. I must say we are going really well up until now. Let's not jinx it, or I'm hoping I have not jinxed it. So, New Year 2021. Ebullience. I am super ebullient right now because Toastmaster is an ebullient place for me. 2021 is the fourth decade that I am actually, this decade that is going on is the fourth decade that I'm witnessing. That does not mean that I am 40 years old or getting towards 40. It's just that I was born in the later part of a decade and a decade has just started. I don't know how many New Year resolutions I have made up until now. I don't even remember when was the first time I remembered to make a New Year resolution. But well, we live in a very connected society these days and everybody is making resolutions. So I feel left out when I don't make a resolution. So this time around, I have made two resolutions. I'll talk about both of them. The first one is to keep this meeting on time. That is my first resolution, that we somehow make sure that Toastmasters meetings start on time and end on time. Well, I will most certainly try to follow this resolution from my end, and I will request everybody in this room to try their best and join this meeting on time and also not speak way beyond their permissible limits. Well, not really permissible, but their limits. With that, let me invite our evaluator of the day. This evaluator will be evaluating our one and only prepared speech for today. The evaluator, when I asked her what her New Year resolution is, was not as legendary as Abhijit in denying that she does not have any. She said that her resolution is a sleep schedule, to wake up and to sleep and wake up on time. Well, what time she did not mention. So maybe her sleep schedule could be sleeping at 7 a.m. and waking up at, I don't know, 2 p.m. But to explain more on her resolution and talk about the speech of today, please welcome on our screens Toastmaster Shreya, the evaluator for today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hind. Thank you for setting me up for a failure. Because when you talk about my resolution, I have to also start by mentioning that I have failed terribly already. It's been 15 days and I think I might have slept 1 or 2 days on time. But to add to my explanation, I might say that there was a wedding in the family, and as all of you know how Indian weddings go, it's a week of chaos at the minimum. So I have decided to start my new year from today onwards and decided that January 15th will be the day when I start my resolutions. Coming back to topic, today Srinivasan is giving his first ever speech, that is the icebreaker speech. It's for 4 to 6 minutes. The objective of the speech is to introduce, objective of this speech is for the person to introduce himself or herself to the club and also understand the basic structure of a speech. I'm very excited to hear Srinivasan's first speech, and I know for sure that the rest of the club is too. Good luck, Srinivasan, and good luck to all the other speakers today. Handing it back to you, Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. I went around asking for the New Year resolutions from our role takers of the meeting, but I did not ask our speaker for his New Year resolution. And I intentionally did not ask you, Srinivasan, don't feel left out. I did not, because he will have his own 6 minutes to not just introduce himself, but introduce himself in the year 2021. So he can well go ahead and talk about not just himself, but the New Year resolutions that he has developed all over his life and even this year. Well, I will not bore you with my New Year resolution for now. I will do that later, don't worry. For now, let me call on our screens our prepared speaker, the only speaker of the meeting today, Srinivasan Viswanathan, an act of kindness, Srinivasan Viswanathan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hind. காலத்தினால் செய்த உதவி சிறிதெனினும் ஞாலத்தின் மான பெரிது. I chose a couplet from the famous Tirukkural written in Tamil language to begin my speech. This means an act of help in the most needy of times is greater when compared to the whole of earth. Good morning and good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. I am Srinivasan and I have this great opportunity to share some memories of my childhood days with you, and that of course includes some memorable incidents from my school life. Let me begin when I was born. I was born in Chennai, a small area called as Tambaram, which now is a major point in metro city, in the metro lines. So, but my father was from Coimbatore and my mother is from Chennai. So we came back to Coimbatore and then my whole childhood was spent in Coimbatore. When I wanted to start my first standard, my parents decided that we will shift our house closer to the school so that myself and my sister can avoid the travel to the school in a daily basis. And then we ended up just half a kilometer away from the school. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, I started and ended my school career from first standard till 12th standard in the same school. It will not be wrong to say that I, myself, and my school also developed with me. My school started as a matriculation and then it eventually turned into a CBSE and the #1 school in the whole of Coimbatore. Well, I'm just kidding. Anyways. So when I go back in my school days, I would like to start from my second standard. This is when I was introduced to 2 special events in every week. One is the library and the other is the PT period, which is the physical training. In the PT period, we used to roam around with our shuttle bags and play our hearts out for 1 hour every week. And with respect to the library, we had a huge library, which was equivalent to 2 halls and it was full of books. I was totally interested in the comic sections and my most favorite till today is the Amar Chitrakatha series. Well, I'm sure every one of you have read at least one comic. Can I have a raise of hand for whoever read the Amar Chitrakatha books? Oh, that's a huge number. Thank you. The reason is obvious, right? Like you are attracted towards the colors, the lot of capitalized text, the exclamations, the ahs, the brave actions of a lot of heroes who you always aspire to be in your life. And from this, I moved on gradually to reading newspapers such as the Hindu, Times of India, Deccan Chronicle, and so on. And then I also moved on to the mandatory encyclopedias, right? Mostly I was watching the pictures in the books anyway, but then that was also a knowledge gaining experience. Gradually, when I moved on to my 6th and 7th standard, we had a close group of friends who were very interested about the current affairs, and we used to gather in the break periods and lunch periods, discussing with the newspapers, so on. Finally, an opportunity knocked us. We got into a lot of quiz competitions between inter-school quiz competitions, basically. And this is a question for you guys. How many of you know about Young World? The Hindu newspaper, yeah, I see a rise of hands. The weekly, which used to come every Tuesday, and that was a huge fun for every one of us. We used to see a lot of events with respect to the children and a lot of trivia questions. So the Young World conducted a inter-school quiz competition, and then we took an on-duty day for the whole day, which was again a Tuesday coincidentally, and we enjoyed to the core on the whole day. We did not win the quiz, but then the whole process of the quiz, where we had 20 questions and we discussed within each other. We were a team of 3, and the day went like a swiftly. At the end of the day, when we had to come back to our homes, we were only 5 or 6 people left, and we had a bus which has a capacity of 40 people. So basically, we were free within the bus itself. But then the rain gods wanted to play spoil sport. It was evening 6 already, and the peak traffic was completely filling the Coimbatore city roads. and then the rain also came, and then we also heard that a thunder struck down trees on the way on the roads, and then the traffic was completely blocked. It was the darkness engulfed us, and even we had completed all the snacks we bought from the canteens, and we were left hungry. We didn't know what to do, but anyways, the house was only 5 kilometers away, but then we were desperate. At that point of time, a lady came with an umbrella towards our van with a plate in her hand. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what it was. And then she had a quick chat with our teachers, and then they let her inside the van. When she came near us and opened the plate, we saw full of biscuits. I mean, we wanted to grab that and take that off, but then we also were reminded of our parents' teachings: do not take anything from strangers. But then so we politely refused her, and then she just smiled. No problem, Kanna. Just take and eat the biscuits. It will take some time for you. And then I don't know, but within 5 minutes, her plate was empty. We reached home safely that day, and then the next day went like that. But when I think back about it today, I was just thinking what an act of kindness that was. Maybe the biscuits were worth 10 or 20 rupees, but the amount of satisfaction it gave each one of us was immeasurable. And at this point of time, during this COVID situation, I would like to ask a question within yourself. Have you done an act of kindness? Have you donated? Have you given a blanket to a person who you don't even know or you won't even know for the rest of your life? This act of kindness is greater than the whole of earth measured. So with this, I would like to break ice with you as the cliche goes and hope for a great year ahead. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster again.
Thank you, Srinivasan. That was a really engaging speech. I was living your story with you. I was right there in that van, stuck in the thunderstorm, with the auntie sitting with the plate of biscuits right in front of me. It was very surreal. Thank you for sharing your story with us. All right, folks, let me pull you back into our theme of the meeting. Once again, new beginnings. So if you guys remember, I talked about two resolutions that I made in this new year, one of which is obviously keeping this meeting on time, and the other one is to read more books. I know this is a very common resolution. I was not going for uncommon here, but reading books is something that I pick up and leave and discard at such a quick pace that I am just miffed at myself. I used to read books when I was in 12th. Then during the first year of my college, I didn't read anything. But then somehow in my second year, I picked up books again. And it just keeps on going this way. So every alternate year, one of my resolution is that I want to read more books. So this year, I have decided that I'll read more books, but I also understand that because I work on a laptop, that's my living, I have to focus and keep reading for a long time. And I don't want to bring in another angle into my life, which requires me to focus and read. So I tried this new app called Audible. Has anybody heard of Audible? Wow, a lot of people have. Nice. So I bought the free, whatever, 90 days subscription that they give to the new users. And I bought this book called Sapiens. Has anybody read Sapiens? Wow, again, 3 hands. Not bad. But not great as well, because the book was released in 2015. Everybody should have read it by now. And if you have not, trust me, that is a really interesting book, a book that takes the whole of human history and turns it into a story that you will not even realize by the time it comes to an end, and it transitions into art today. Well, I'll maybe talk. I would love to talk to you about Sapiens a bit more, and that is how I have decided to continue my resolutions. If there's any book that I read in future in the next 11 and a half months that remain in 2021, I'll make sure to bring it into Toastmasters and share it with you guys, because then I'll have a motive of reading the book. Well, we'll talk about Sapiens and my journey with Sapiens a little later, but for now, let's jump into the most exciting section, as is often considered, of this meeting, which is the table topic session. And among us is our table topic master, who, like our general evaluator, does not concern himself with petty things like New Year resolutions. He thinks that they build unnecessary pressure, and he can pick himself up and start the thing that he wants to start at any point of time in his life or in the year. Please welcome Phil, Toastmaster Phil, our table topic master of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hind, and good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. It's true that I do not really believe in New Year's resolutions. They force you to make a decision at a particular point in time to try and achieve something that you then can't fail at. And the point is that we fail all the time. We don't achieve our goals every time. We are not perfect every time. And to me, the New Year's resolution fails for that reason. As soon as you not run once in a week because you were going to run every week, you failed for the whole year. So what's the point now? And I think instead, it's much better to go, well, all I want to do is do better than last time. Here's what I would like to do, and I will always work towards it. You don't need to start the beginning of the year by going, that's the absolute thing, because otherwise you're guaranteed to fail. And I would much sooner think, I'm getting closer to perfection every time without being perfect. Anyhow, we're going to start this session of table topics with perhaps some questions from a gentler age, a more elegant set of questions, perhaps, to use the Star Wars analogy. I'm hoping that everyone will find that there's something that they can present to themselves, give us an ebullience to their talk, that they won't feel pressured into. They won't feel pressured into answering a dilemma, trying to solve the world's problems. These are simple topics. They won't be competing with each other. Please feel free to express yourselves, whether it be to share a little bit about yourself or whether it be to take us on a complete flight of fancy. All that I ask is that you start your talk with the few words that I'll give you. So I have 10 topics available, and I guess I'm now seeking some volunteers. Any volunteers?
I guess
Shreya?
everyone is volunteer. So if someone is, everyone is a role taker. So if someone needs to pick up.
Shreya's volunteering. Thank you, Shreya. So a number between 1 and 10, please.
10.
10.
Yeah.
Yes. So your speech should start with my earliest memory.
All right, this one's kind of difficult. I'm good at topics like this. All right, I'll give it a try. My earliest memory of my happy-filled childhood is of this one particular summer where I was busy the whole day, because I used to just jump from one class to another the whole time. Morning, I'd start with swimming classes, followed with dance classes, then followed by art. And then in the evening, I'd go to singing classes. And then at night, I think some doll making classes or something. And I just land up at home, have my dinner and sleep. And that was my ideal definition of a day. Because guess what? The more busier you are, the lesser time you have to think. And that has been my motto for a very long time now. Keep yourself so busy that you don't have time to think about what you're doing. And you just keep yourself occupied all the time. So this is a strategy that has been working for me all this while. And I intend to keep this motto for the rest of my life as well, hopefully. And that's all that I had to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you ever so much for sharing that with us. It sounds like a lovely memory. May I have another volunteer, please? Anybody? Sumedh, thank you.
Yeah.
So a number between 1 and 10, and I'll just pick a nearest 2 if you pick one that's been taken before.
3.
So 3 is my worst job, not including Arista.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, sure. So get ready for this. I was part of a team which worked on modern ways of waste disposal. Now, as is the murky subject of waste disposal and its contents, the solutions are not always readily available. Now, what has this to do with my worst job? You might be thinking, think no longer, for I have an answer for you. It was to go through the sewage pipes and see exactly what flows through them, and collect samples, analyze what are the ingredients which make up that sewage and the sludge, go to landfills, see how they are being maintained, what are the ways to optimize further these landfills. And that was perhaps the worst job. And it also got me a separate level of respect for those people who do that on a daily basis. So yeah, that was one day that I probably will never forget and want to, because it gave me a headache, and it's just something that I never thought I would do, and I was put up in such a place and position to do so. So that would be the worst job that I ever took up, apart from, not including Arista or what I did, some specific parts here. Just kidding, Abhijit. So yeah, I like to say that would be the worst job ever.
Yeah, that sounds pretty horrific. I thought mine was bad, but no, truly. So I'm going to call on someone else. May I ask, Abdul, would you consider as a guest speaking for us?
Yes, sure. Yeah. So,
would you like to choose a topic between 1 and 10?
I'll go with 7.
7. So topic 7 is something I started but never finished.
Oh God, I have many of these. So I have also made a New Year resolution this year that even though it doesn't work most of the time, but yeah, I have made the resolution that I will complete things which I begin. For example, I took up a certification recently. So being a cybersecurity professional, I have to very often upgrade myself with certifications. But very often I start studying something and I end up not doing it. I remember last time I took up a course which was sponsored by my organization. I studied everything, but when it came to prepare for the exams, I happened to drop off. So there have been a lot of things, but recently this is what I have done. I have made my mind to change this, and I've thought of improving myself on this. Yeah, that's what comes up to my mind when I think about starting something and not ending it. Yeah, that's all from my side. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. So
thank you very much.
I offer people a choice now. If we finish here, the meeting will be back to the officially designated time, or if we have time for one more, we can ask one more person. Anyone? Let's see if there's a volunteer. Does anyone else wish to speak for table topics? No. In which case, then I propose that I'll send the link. Oh, Basil, you'd like to speak? Go on then.
Let me give it a shot as well. So let's start with one.
One. My favorite animal. Start at the beginning.
Okay. Okay, that's a tough one. My favorite animal is a snake. So yeah, not a lot of people are fans of snakes. I'm pretty sure of that. But for me, it kind of symbolizes power for some reason. Basically, you are a snake is like a stick on the floor. It just when it's just slithering around, you feel like, okay, it's if you keep your distance, it's not that dangerous and stuff, but it can still pack a punch once it gets to you. So I mean, I had quite a bit of close encounters with snakes since childhood. So ever since, I guess, the day I was born, there was actually, this is not too close for me. So the day I was born, there was actually a cobra in my house, basically. So which my mom found. And when I was like 6 years old and driving around in the cycle, I had a snake entangled in the rim of the cycle. Why I didn't see that. I just thought it was a rope. I went to pick it, and that's when I thought, oh man, it's not what I thought. So that all those incidents kind of got my fear away and got more curiosity towards what it was and why does it behave the way. Why are people scared of it? And so yeah, that kind of pushed me in that direction to learn more about snakes and understand how they are. And yeah, finally it turned out to be my favorite animal. So yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'm in awe of everybody who loves the unusual animals that that most people find themselves frightened of. Right. So thank you very much to all our speakers. Those were brilliant. I'm going to post now a link to a form where I'll ask everyone to take the chance to vote, and perhaps, Timer, you could give us 1 minute, and then we'll pass it back. I think we have all the responses in. So with that, thank you very much, guys. Over to you, Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you for that exciting session. And thank you to all the speakers for speaking. You know, including our prepared speaker and our last table topic speaker, I got this idea. Has anybody here read Nagraj, the comic? No one? I'm not sure if I should be, I should feel proud of myself or otherwise. So Nagraj is a comic hero, an Indian comic hero who was once bitten by a snake and then he could shoot snakes out of his wrists. Obviously a ripoff of Spider-Man, but we had our Nagraj. And if you have not read it, you must read about them. They are our Avengers. And I'm sure if you have not read Nagraj, you would not have read Captain Dhruv or Doga or right? Nobody has read that, right?
I've seen those covers, like from Diamond Comics, I think, or some Indian comic company. I've come across those comics before, but I used to prefer reading other comics.
Now, this is a serious and a heartfelt suggestion. If you have not, please make this a New Year resolution of 2021 to go ahead and read about Nagaraj, Captain Dhruv. Captain Dhruv, sorry, Captain Dhruv, I think, and Doga. Please do. With that, let me not eat more of your time and call our general evaluator to take us on the evaluation journey of today's meeting. Please welcome Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hind. Wow, it was definitely a session that is well worthy of the term or the theme, New Beginnings. We have definitely been very, very conscious of our time, as at the same time conscious of what we want to speak about. We've already had one great icebreaker as well as 4 table topic speakers who kind of talked about something that they never talked about before. So how do we take all of this and do it better in the future meetings of 2021? Let's hear it from our evaluation panel. We'll first start with the speech evaluation for Srinivasan's, Toastmaster Srinivasan's icebreaker speech. And for us to know more about that, let's welcome our evaluator, Toastmaster Shreya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. First of all, congratulations, Srinivasan. That was an excellent first time speech. It didn't feel like you were talking for the first time or you're giving your first speech. Your speech made me ebullient. I hope I got that right. So regarding your speech, there are some things that you did very well and some things that you could improve on. Starting with the positives. Firstly, your chronology was maintained throughout, and that made it very easy for us to follow your story. You started with when you were born, where you were born, what your childhood was, and what your high school, bit of your high school was like. So that was easy for us to get along with your story and imagine you grow as you kept narrating the story. The second one was good usage of humor and questions sprinkled throughout your speech. So you made sure to ask questions at different stages as well as make some jokes in between that would make your speech entertaining and ensure that you had the audience attention from the beginning till the end. The other thing that I liked about your speech was that you started with a quote and I think you ended with a quote. And that was a nice structure, and the theme was maintained from the starting, what you meant, to the conclusion that you gave. And I found that circle to be a nice one. Apart from that, few other things that I feel you could improve at. Sometimes I felt like your sentences didn't have a start or an end. It just seemed like a stream of words that you were saying. So it was difficult to follow where you were starting, give a pause for the audience to, grasp what you said, then maybe continue so that they can continue with you on the journey that you're talking about. So I feel that there could have been lesser ands. So it would have been sentence starting and a pause followed by the next sentence. Another thing that you could work on is your voice modulation. I felt like there was some voice modulation, but it was a bit static throughout. When you were talking about it raining, maybe you could have been a bit quieter for dramatic effect, or you could have spoken a bit more slowly to talk about how the rain was pattering. And when you're talking about something exciting, like when you're talking about that aunt giving you the biscuits, or your mom, getting you the biscuits, you could have spoken with a bit more excitement and enthusiasm in the air. So I feel that the voice modulation could vary a bit through the speech. And the last thing that I would think could be improved, I think the bridging of your conclusion to your story could have been done a bit better. The conclusion being that a nice act, right? A nice act means a lot. So I feel that the story ending could have linked a bit more smoothly with your conclusion, and that would have made the whole speech really excellent. It was already a great speech, and I feel that could have given it a punch that you needed. As a challenge, I would ask you to try narrating an actual story, maybe like a script kind of a story, and then see if that would help you with your voice modulations as well as the continuity between statements that you make. That's all the evaluation that I had today. I really hope that it has helped you or it will help you in the future. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. Moving on to the other evaluators who have been introduced earlier in the session and have been tasked with evaluating different parts and different ways we deliver the speech. To begin with, let's welcome back our timekeeper of the day, Toastmaster Navjot.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. This session has been a brilliant start for 2021. So as Toastmaster Abhijit mentioned that we have been really time conscious with this session, and I would really like all of us to continue this way and do even better. So starting with the timings, prepared speaker Srinivasan took a bit more than the allotted time, 6 minutes and 40 seconds. But I really enjoyed the speech. So well done, Srinivasan. And the table topic speakers, Shreya took 1 minute and 18 seconds. Sumedh took 1 minute and 58 seconds. Abdu took 1 minute and 2 seconds, and Basil took 1 minute and 56 seconds. So all the table topic speakers were within the allotted time. And that's my report. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Navjot. As I already said, there were some really good speeches that were presented today. But were they smooth enough? Let's hear it from the AhCounter of the day, Toastmaster Hillol.
Thank you, Abhijit. So overall, the report is really good. Like, people are really conscious while using unnecessary filler words. So they have used really less. So let me give you the detailed report. So starting with Basil, in your opening speech, in your opening note of the meeting, you used just two which is really good. It was a flawless pitch. Next, Sumedh, in Presiding Officer's note, you used 8 A's and some repetitions like is there, what, some kind of repetitions you have used. Next, coming to Hind, it was Toastmaster of the Day introduction, and you used 4 R's and some repetitions like we have. That's it. And next, coming to Abhijit, general evaluator role introduction, you used just 1 R, which is really good. It was flawless. Navjot, timer role description, you used 6 R's and no repetition as such. Coming to Shreya, evaluator of the day introduction, you used 2 R's and some repetition like and, then filler word like I mean. Then Srinivasan, in your prepared speech, it was really flawless, and you have not used any R's, like this, but just one and. That was the only repetition that you used. It was really good. Next, coming to the table topic. In the table topic, Shreya, you have used 3 R's, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. Then Sumedh, in your table topic, you have used 7 R's. Some filler words like yeah and like this you have used. Coming to Abdul, in your table topic, you have used 3 R's and repetition like prepare to fill up the time you have used like this. Coming to Basil, you have used 1 R, that's it, in your table topic speech. And during the evaluation, Shreya, you have used again 6 R's, 2 some filler words like so and could be repetition. And finally, the timekeeper Navjot, in your evaluation, during your evaluation, you have used 4 R's. So that's it for the day. Over to Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hillol. Now, one strong indicator that the session as a whole was really good, or your delivery as a speech was really good, is an ebullient grammarian. Let's see if our grammarian was ebullient today or not. With that, please welcome Toastmaster Arjun.
Hello, everyone. I was losing half of my ebullience when I saw that the usage of word of the day was in single digits. But then With my efforts, it is still in single digits, but acceptable because I felt there was a late surge in your efforts as well. With that being said, I'll start off with the individual evaluations. TMoD Hind was quite fabulous with his usage of grammar, considering the amount of content he had to deliver. Although there were a few things which he can improve. For example, when he said, "We will survive better," that can be phrased in a much in a different way. For example, when "we will survive in a wholesome way" or something different than this. When he said, "It is curious to me," anything abstract cannot be curious. Curious is used to define someone, describe a person, a living thing. So maybe you were curious to that thing, but that thing cannot be curious to you. When it comes to Sergeant at Arms, I did not find any grammatical errors in his introduction. Presiding Officer Sumedh made 2 errors when he said that the theme of the meeting was, it should actually have been the theme of the meeting is, because the meeting is in the present. In a very new way, it could have been phrased better. It could have been said in a different way. Our general evaluator, Abhijit, as the AhCounter said, his speech was flawless. He had only 1 ha. Even his usage of grammar was good. There was one moment when I felt he made an error, but I'm not sure. Maybe he knows. When he said, "Do any of you remember?" If it was "do," then it is wrong, because it should be "does any one of you remember?" Because anyone is in a singular sense. So I'm not sure with this, but if you can look back at the recording and probably correct me, I'll be more than happy. The timer and the AhCounter were pretty objective with their content. So the possibility of having errors was very less. I did not find any grammatical errors as such. Coming to the coming to the evaluator, Ms. Shreya, her introduction and her evaluation was pretty decent. There were no grammatical errors. There wasn't any wrong usage of conjunctions or adverbs. However, I felt that she could have completed a sentence when she was talking about maintaining chronology. She could have said chronology was maintained throughout the speech by you, or you maintained the chronology throughout the speech, instead of just saying chronology was maintained throughout. Speaker Srinivasan's speech was pretty well prepared, and I think Shreya has already covered the mistakes that were made with respect to the usage of "and" the long sentences. What I found out was there was a slight hesitation when you were choosing some words, so there were slight errors when it came to choice of words and vocabulary. For example, a major point in the metro line, that could have been said as a major station along the metro lines. School career could have been phrased as student life, or my life as a student, or my school life. Go back in my school days could have been phrased as go back to my school days, or recollect my school days. A thunder struck down the trees. It is actually lightning that strikes the trees. It's not thunder. Thunder is the sound. A good usage was surprisingly and not surprisingly. I've come across this in different forms of media, so I liked it. Coming to the table topic, master, I could not find any errors at all. So Phil was pretty flawless with his language. There was a usage flight of the fancy. I think, if I'm not wrong, I tried to hear him. He was a little less audible, but I think he said flight of fancy. Am I right, Phil? There was a usage of an alliteration when you said flight of fancy. Did you use something like that? Did you use a figure of speech like that?
I almost certainly did.
Yeah. So I liked it. That's an alliteration, so I liked it. Coming to the table topic speakers, there were hardly any errors. Shreya was good with the speech. Sumedh was also pretty at point with the speech. Abdul also was very concise with the speech. Basil slightly used the word basically in an excessive way when he was describing a snake in his house. So using basically just to describe the situation is not required at times. Also, when he said not that dangerous and stuff, that can be phrased well, because "and stuff" is just another colloquial usage. With that, my report is done. Over to the general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun, for a comprehensive report as a grammarian. And now, with the powers bestowed on me by Toastmasters International, I get to evaluate the whole of the session. So I'll try to keep it within my time limit, but I'll start from the beginning. I think we did a tremendous job to start on time. I felt for the very first time, we were unfazed and unnerved by the less number of tiles on our screen. And we were not really hurrying and scurrying, trying to get more people. And I think we should keep it that way. That also helped us to start on time, which I think we should definitely try to continue for the rest of the year and hopefully for as long as we meet. So I think that's a great start. I observed something about the TMoD, so I would like to give that feedback. Toastmaster Hind, you bring such humor and fun to any role that you take up that the audience is automatically engaged. I think that's something that has been your forte. However, one thing that I feel that you can do more of is to challenge yourself by trying a more formal kind of a speech construction or a formal kind of a session hosting. I think you tend to be more casual and wait for jokes to actually be soaked in by the audience and have them laugh along with you, and then also try a lot of very, I would say, colloquial sentences. That's all great, but I think you have kind of basked in that for quite long. So with 2021, I would definitely urge you to try something different and try to have a more formal approach toward handling a whole session. I think that would definitely be one more skill to learn. So that's for you. Coming to the tag team, I think I already commented on Arjun doing a great job. So I think, Arjun, you definitely have done a brilliant job at the Grammarian role. For the AhCounter as well as for Timer, I would urge you to not just observe and come back with observations, but also come with some feedback. If you can suggest some of the things that you really liked about somebody, trying to make sure that the pauses were not delivered, the ahs and ums were not delivered, and maybe they took some pause, or something that could help them if they were actually using a lot of ahs and ums. Similarly, for the timer, all the evaluators have good 2 minutes to cover. So you can always come up with your personal tips or something that you have thought for yourself. So just anything thoughtful put out there is going to be helpful. So please do that. For our first speaker, Toastmaster Srinivasan, Shreya already did a very comprehensive feedback on your speech. I would like to add a couple of more things. I really like the passion and nostalgia that was reflected in your speech. I think that was a great first speech that also showed us how storytelling could be a natural talent that you have. So you just need to build on top of that. So I think these are the great positives that you had. Your message to conclude the speech was just spot on, the need of the hour. So I think I'm really happy that you chose to include even a message in your icebreaker. Couple of things that you can do better. Please try to have pauses when you are trying to deliver something humorous. I think at some point in time you talked about your school being number 1 in Coimbatore, and you very rushedly told that it was a joke. So I think you can try to keep more pauses between your humor. That's how it will come across as humor. So that's one thing. Finally, as much as I liked your speech, if you could actually, if I could know more about your aspirations, your philosophies of life, your likings, I would have loved to know more of that about you rather than a story that could have come later. But still, great job. Maybe these are things you can touch upon in later speeches. With that, I think I rest my evaluation here with just one congratulation for the table topic master. I think, Phil, you chose the right strategy. The topics were such that everybody thought for a little bit, but it did not stump anyone either. So I think it gave a fair opportunity for everybody to feel challenged while still coming out with something meaningful there. So great job on doing that. With that, thank you, everybody. And I will pass it on back to our top Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you, General Evaluator and the tag team and the evaluator. I am not exaggerating or buttering this team up, but I have not heard such an amazing evaluation in a long time, and maybe forever, for this club at least. And if I may put in some fire to the oil, Shreya, you have a competitor in Arjun in one of the best grammarians of the club, because Arjun swept you off right off the feet. So beware. With that, the meeting is coming to an end, but before swept is the word. Okay, thank you. Okay. We have one more voting to do, which is that of the regular roles. So we have 2 categories, best speaker and best evaluator. The best speaker has the speaker, TMoD, SAA as well as TTM, and Best Evaluator has GE, Tag plus Evaluator as the contenders. I am sharing the voting link. Please go ahead and vote. That was quick. Thank you very much, everybody, for voting. I will reserve revealing the results to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Sumedh. I will let you know of the results, and I'll request Phil to also message the results to Sumedh. Before we end this meeting, I would like to just take maybe half a minute more to highlight how incredible this meeting has been with respect to time. I understand that the agenda said 62 minutes, but we started at 4:01 and it's 5:07. We have taken 66 minutes, but we have never fared this well, and that requires an applause for each and every one of you. So please go ahead and give yourself an applause for being timely. And that ends my Toastmaster segment. I would have loved to talk about Sapiens with you guys because I really love the book. I truly hope that I get another opportunity to do that. Let's hope that happens sometime soon in 2021. But for now, let me hand it back to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Sumedh.
Thank you, TMoD Hind. Well, this has been wonderful, but I'll be honest with you guys. This was a little difficult for me to do my job as presiding officer because I had to sit and listen instead of actively participate. And this is something new for me. So I have now found renewed respect for both the past presidents who have done this on a regular basis, Abhijit and Hind, who have sat here every time while people go on and on talking for 67 to 80 minutes. So kudos to you guys. I promise that I'll never let him take any other job ever. I'll take up all the roles if that need be. And the second thing is that all of us came in here with a renewed energy, and I think that is what we are looking for moving forward for the next 6 months at least, and thereafter we'll see how to renew that energy again. But at this point, we just want to keep going, and so please go ahead and put your names forward in the sheet that has been shared, and please fill in the roles as soon as possible. With that, I would like to get back to the competition. Well, not a competition. I've been told that these were landslide results. The best speaker is Srinivasan, and applause, please. And the best evaluator is Arjun Khattri, who apparently is coming from Real Madrid. So,
Best commission ever.
anyways, so this has been a wonderful meeting, and I would like to end it while it is still being wonderful, and see you on January 29th. Thank you. Have a nice day, guys.
Best table topic. Best table topic. Hang on.
Oh, wait, I've not gotten that result yet. Guys, best table topics?
I swear I messaged you, but shall I announce it instead?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not able to see that message, but go ahead.
So, okay, apologies. Yeah, so despite the Grammarian's report, then basically by a landslide, it was Basil.
Wow.
All right. So with that, I call this meet to a close. See you next time, guys.